Hi everyone, it's Sam from Sitemate. In this video, we're going to look at how we can use the Sitemate links feature in Dashpivot for incident reports. And it will allow anyone working on your sites to submit an incident report into your Dashpivot account, but without them actually needing a Dashpivot login. So instead, the way it will work is they'll submit the incident report via the Sitemate app into your Dashpivot account. And the Sitemate app is free, and the way that we're going to set this up today as a single submission link will mean that it's also free for them to submit the incident report into Dashpivot. So I'm going to show you how we can both set this up and also what it will look like from the perspective of the person who's going to be submitting the incident report into Dashpivot, what it will look like from the Sitemate app. So let's jump in. Here we are on the Dashpivot website, and the first thing we need to make sure of is that we're in the folder where we want our incident reports to be submitted to. So whichever folder we create our Sitemate link within is the folder where our submission records are going to be stored. So in this case, we want this site team folder to be the one that we will select. We need to go to the template section, and you can see we already have an incident report template set up, and it's actually set up as a workflow. In short, it just means that when we submit the form, the person who's filling out that incident report will have to sign off the very first approval signature. And when they submit the form, because they've signed off that first approval signature, it will show up in the second column of your workflow. So just keep that in mind if you're sort of designing this out, creating your workflow and customizing the columns, just bear that in mind. So all that we need to do, because our incident report template already exists, the only thing we need to do is create the link. So let's head to the links tab. And you can see that there's a couple of different types of links that we can create. The first is the single submission Sitemate link, and the other is the ongoing submission. The single submissions are free for anyone to submit a single form via the Sitemate app, and that's the way that we're going to set up our incident report. So we're going to go ahead and click this button here to create a new link. And we need to give it a name, so I'm just going to call it incident report. Nice and simple. And then I'm going to select our incident report workflow template. Now you can select multiple templates. Let's say that this was just called safety templates and then we had a whole bunch of them in there. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to select the one incident report and click the green button here to generate the link. So it has been created successfully. It's just giving us a warning about the workflow. Because this template is set up as a workflow, basically what I said before, where the form is going to get submitted into the second column of the workflow. That's an important thing to note, as well as just noting that the only section that the person submitting the report will be able to fill out is everything above that very first approval signature. So they won't be able to fill out anything below that first approval signature. And you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So let's click OK. And now it shows us how we can distribute this link so that someone can actually fill out an incident report. The first option is to simply just copy that link and send it out to someone via email or via a text message. This works really well if you know exactly who needs to actually submit the incident report, but 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to know exactly who needs to fill it out. So we have the second option, which is to download a QR code poster. And what's really neat about this is, you'll see in a sec, it's basically a PDF, an A4 PDF that you can print out and stick on the walls around your site. And it will have your logo up the top, so it will look nice and professional. It's got the name of the template, or the name of the link that we gave it just 2 seconds ago. It's got a nice big QR code, which you can scan with your smartphone. And when that gets scanned, it will behave the same way as if you had clicked the link. And so it will then prompt you to open up the Sitemate app and to fill out an incident report and send it through. And it's also got some steps down the bottom if someone gets stuck, information about the app stores, and then details about where exactly in Dashpivot this incident report would end up. So that's how that works. I've actually already printed one out and I've got an example ready to show you, but just know that that's all that you need to do. So if we click done, we can see that our link is now displayed here. We can copy the link by just clicking on it, and we've got some shortcuts here to download that poster or edit this link or archive this link if we don't want anyone to be able to submit any incident reports anymore. So there's a couple of options there. Now, from the perspective of the person who needs to actually fill out an incident report, let's assume that we're on site, something's happened, we need to document a near miss or an incident of some description. Assuming that we've printed out the poster and we've got that on our wall, what the person would do is they would open up the camera on their smartphone and go and scan that QR code that's on the poster, and it's going to open up the browser. And you can see here it tells us what it's for, so it's the incident report. It's the same as what we saw on the poster. You can see we've got a link here. We're going to copy that because we're going to need that in just a moment. And we need to install the app, so I'm just going to click install. Now on my device I've actually already got the Sitemate app installed, so I'm not going to have to reinstall it. I can just click open. And then what we need to do is head to the Forms tab. So it's this one here. Go to Forms, click Add Forms, that big green button, and we can punch in that code that we just copied. So once we've done that, click Submit, and you'll see that it's been successfully added. You can see we've got the incident report workflow up the top. And you can also see that it's a single submission. So this just means that as soon as we fill it out and submit it, it's going to disappear from our Sitemate app. So let's go ahead and start to fill it out. So let's open it up. You can see that we've got some required fields. Maybe there was a near miss at gate 3 or something like that. Date and time of the incident. We can punch that in, and obviously we can start to fill out all of the relevant fields on here. Now, because it's set up as a workflow, you'll notice that the submit button is actually disabled initially. So the only way for that submit button to become enabled is for us to sign off the top section of this incident report. So basically everything above this first approval signature. Everything below it is visible, but it's not something that can be filled out. So it just means that the person who is filling this out can only fill out the parts above that first approval signature. So we're just going to go ahead and sign it. Click sign, stamps our name and time and date and signature on there, and the submit button is now green. So we can go ahead and click submit. What that does is it takes us to the activity tab inside of the Sitemate app, and you can see here it's now uploading that incident report, and it's sending it back to that Dashpivot account where we were just before on the website. So it might just need to give that a second just to upload. You can see it's now submitted, and in here we can see a log of all the other forms that we've submitted from our Sitemate app in the past. And then because we've now submitted that report, and it was a single submission Sitemate link, if we go back to Forms, you can see it's not there anymore. So we could only do it once. So now if we head back to the Dashpivot website and then go to Templates and to Incident Report, and you can see this is the form that we filled out 2 minutes ago. So we can open that up, we can review all of the details. Not that we put that much stuff in there, but obviously you can have a bit of a read through. And because it's a workflow, we can set it up to automatically notify someone in our team every time a form moves into this column. So in our case, that might mean notifying a safety manager or a project manager or a supervisor or someone who needs to review the details of that incident. So we can set that up. There's a separate video that covers the workflow notifications. Feel free to check that out. And so, yeah, all of our records will be stored in here. What's neat is we have the register view in Dashpivot, so we can search by date or by person or anything like that. You know, what stage in the workflow is it up to? There's heaps of options in there. So feel free to use those when the time comes if you need to quickly find an incident report that transpired some time ago. So that pretty much wraps up this video. If you get stuck with anything, please feel free to reach out to our live chat team just via the live chat button in the bottom right of the Dashpivot website. We also have stacks of tutorial videos in our help center, so feel free to check those out. We've got videos covering other use cases for the Sitemate Links feature, including inductions, timesheets, pre-starts, site check-ins, anything like that. So feel free to give those a watch. There's also videos about the other sections of Dashpivot, the photos, templates, analytics, etc. So feel free to have a bit of a look at that. So that wraps up this video. I hope that it will be useful for you to use the Sitemate Links feature for incident reports. And thanks for watching.